people don't, they usually know the roof is bad when it starts leaking. Obviously, that's the sure telltale sign of a bad roof, but there's a lot of other things you need to look for to know if the roof is bad. So for all the viewers right now, let's tell them to, today when they get done with the web chat, to walk outside and just from a street perspective, what are the things that we need to look for to see if the roof has signs of bad shingles or signs of its wear and tear, and then it's time to take a serious look and have a professional roofer look at you?
Well, the first thing you'd want to do is, if you look up and you see the shingles are curling, of course that's the first indicator. We always, in the roofing industry, we look at the rain lines to see if they're separating. If the rain lines are separating, that's a true tale sign that your roof is starting to break down, it's starting to become brittle, and it's losing its ability to seal. And then always look at your valleys. That's usually when a roof is starting to go bad. You look in the valleys, and the valley is where you have a peak and the roof and the two roof lines meet, and it's a low part. So you look in the valley, and if the valley is chewed up and curling, that's where you'd want to take care of that. You'd want to know that it's time to replace your roof.
Obviously with roofing, we talked about how we know if the roof needs help, with curling shingles. What makes a shingle curl?
Well, really, a lot of heat and improper ventilation. Again, we're going to keep driving that ventilation issue, but you have to remember a lot of these shingles were the cardboard base, and basically what they did, or what the process was before, is they would take, newspapers, old cardboard boxes, grind it up, and extrude it. It looked like commercial hand towel. Then they spray the asphalt on it and shoot the granules on it. And so what happens is when it rains, dries out, if you ever seen a cardboard box in the front yard that's got wet and dried out, it curdles. And same scenario with shingles. So now what happens over a period of time, wet's dried out, wet's dried out. With the cooking from underneath, it helps cook it from underneath and the sun baking it on the top.
When you say it's cooking from underneath, okay, in your attic, heat rises.
That's right. Everything hits the bottom of the roof deck.
Okay,
everything.
So the heat rises through the walls, through the ceiling, into the attic. Okay, and then the attic gets hot.
Right.
And then the sun is beating on the outside of the shingles, and then it's hot from underneath.
Right.
But that heat underneath is much hotter than outside. How hot can an attic get?
Oh, it could anywhere, on average, most average attics are about 15 to 20 degrees hotter than outside. So if it's 80 degrees outside, it could be close to 100 in your attic, or more, depending on the ventilation.
Let's get Sylvia on the phone line. She's looking for a contractor.
Great.
Sylvia, you there?
Yes.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
We're so good, we don't know what to do. No, we're having fun. We're talking roofing. We're going to help you with your roof. Tell me, what do you have going on with your roof?
Okay, it's after it rains, I smell mold, and part of my ceiling is leaking. Right after the rain or during the rain. It's supposed to be a new roof, but I don't know. I don't know if they've installed it properly.
Well, obviously, it looks like it could be a problem. Without seeing it, we got to take a look at it. But based on her problem,
Sylvia, did you have a certified roofing installer install your roof?
Well, no, I don't know because it was here when I moved in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, one of the best things to do is just have one of us come out and inspect your roof and take a look to see exactly what you got going on there, because there's really no way of telling from here. But we can come out and inspect and see what we can do for you, for sure.
Could you please?
Yeah, Sylvia, here's the best thing. Since you've got the computer you're on right now, click on the Hire It Done logo, click on Request a Quote, put roofing, and put a little note in there that you talked to us on the air. The people from Tittle Brothers will come out, they'll inspect your roof for free, and they'll tell you everything that's wrong with it, and they'll also propose a solution for you. And at that point, if you think that it's something you want to do, hey, we'll brag about the results in a week. On the screen, Val has a question. It says, I can see the outline of the studs in my ceiling and walls, sort of a gray-blackish outline. We've seen that before.
We've seen it,
through the drywall. The house is only 5 years old. Is that the sign of a bad roof?
Not necessarily a bad roof. What that's a sign of is no ventilation. Chances are that's just dead air. It has nowhere to move, and it's just setting in the attic, and it's just cooking. That's what happens. When the attic gets so hot without venting it and getting that hot air out, it will actually start to show black lines on the ceiling, on the drywall, the plaster. Very common to see and basically in older houses, so I'm surprised it's on a new house, but yes, that's probably very much no ventilation.
Okay, so clearly one of the important aspects, and we always preach that here on Hire It Done, and Greg, who is our certified expert here, ventilation is just as important as the shingles. It's just as important as the installation. So if your roof is not properly ventilated, you're going to be in big trouble, and this is the first sign of your roof rotting away. So for Val, who has a problem with his roof, you need to get ventilation put in your attic. And now, if there is a roof that Greg doesn't have ventilation, what do we do about it? I mean, what's the solution? Can you come out and take care of that?
Oh, for sure. We address that every day, 6 days a week. The thing is, what we need to do is come out and see if you have the overhangs to do it. First and foremost, cut in soffit vents. Take the old can vents out if there's any, and then cut a ridge vent in if that house is set up.
So you can do that.
So there's plenty to do.
Okay, so there is a solution for that, Val, and that's a good thing. One of the key items that always comes out now in proper roofing is the proper ventilation.
For sure.
Years ago, it was, roof it, get it
Throw
done.
the shingles on. There was no ventilation before. Most of your older houses didn't have any vents. Why do I need vents now? That's my most common question. Why do I need 12 vents on my roof today, Kevin? The biggest thing is, yeah, I never had it before. The biggest thing is these roofs have to breathe. They're made with fiberglass. They're basically like a blanket wrapping the house now. And we're, like Greg said earlier, we're putting insulated windows. We're putting the insulated doors. We're putting all the insulation in the walls, insulation in the attics. We're wrapping our houses, making them sealed. What we have to do is we have to allow any of that heat that has exhausted out escape through your roof vents, allowing this house to breathe. Anything that has gone past your insulation, you'll never recoup it. So you might as well let it vent out and be out. Otherwise, it will burn your shingles from the bottom side, which will cause fatiguing on the shingles from the top and the bottom.
Okay, and that's something. Let's go to the web chat for a second. D. Bailey has a question. The vents on the side of my home, should they be covered by siding? Now, let's assume for a second they're talking about gable end vents.
Right.
Okay, when you're doing roofing, we talk about ventilation on the top with can vents and ridge vents.
Right.
Okay, so in this situation, the siding question, Kevin, what are your thoughts?
Well, it depends. Do you have the proper intake vent from the soffits, being the gutter line area? In order for the gable vents to be plugged off, you should definitely have some intake air in there from the soffit vents to draw to the ridge. When you're doing a roofing system, basically what you really want to make sure is that the air is coming from the bottom all the way exhausting up to the top. A lot of times contractors, what they'll do with the gable vents is they'll leave them open when they do a new roof. They'll put the soffit vents in and they'll put the ridge vent in or the can vents on the top, and they don't plug that off. It should be plugged off if you have open soffit vents to allow the air to draw in.
We've got Dwayne has a roofing question. Dwayne, you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey man, thanks for calling in. What's going on at your house?
I got a question. Me and my wife, we just moved into our home about a couple years ago. And we noticed we don't have no vents on our garage or on our house. And we wanted to know if, are we supposed to have them up there?
Good question, Dwayne. Good question. How old is your home?
Hold on, well, how old is the home? 89. Now, we found some paper saying we have ridge vents.
Okay, that's at the very peak of your roof. It's called a ridge vent. Your house should have a ridge vent. If you don't have soffit vents, so that's not going to work. Do you guys have solutions for him to take a look at it?
Sure. I mean, first of all, if there's ridge vent, that's a good thing as long as it's feeding the proper intake. So what we need to do is, the ridge vent's good, but again, we need to make sure we're drawing air. So we need to come out, take a look at it, and if it's soffit vents, we can cut in soffit vents. It's very simple to do. And then make sure the insulation is not blocking the soffits. You may have soffit vents there, and if they're blocked, it's not allowing any air to come in. So it's very important to check that out.
Dwayne, here's the best thing. Give Tittle Brothers a call. They'll come out, they'll inspect your roof, they'll tell you exactly what they see, if there's any potential problems, or if you're good to go. And it costs you nothing.
Right.
Obviously, if there's problems, they're going to tell you. But, again, they're professional, certified by the manufacturer. This is what's important. So that's what we'll do for you. And thanks for calling today, Dwayne. We appreciate it. Let's go to Kirby. He has a question. It says, what's the best way to keep ice dams from forming in the winter? I have some damage from the past winter and want to avoid more. Now, ice damming is the process, folks, of where the heat escapes your attic, okay? You've got snow on your attic. The heat then goes through the attic, starts to melt the snow. The snow then goes down to the edge of your house, and then it goes past the heated space. And what happens after it goes past that? When it freezes. And then as water freezes, it expands. So what we're going to have is a process called ice damming. Now, there are materials that you put under a roof called ice and water shield that help for that, but you got to still get to the root of the cause. So as far as this is concerned with ice damming, what is the solution?
Well, the main solution is with that is as we were talking about, the ventilation. But if you have the proper intake air and the proper exhauster, you greatly reduce the amount of ice damming. Of course, we live in Michigan. There's no proper way 100% to get rid of ice damming. There's just no way. But the fact of it is that if you have the proper soffit air, what we're really trying to do when we're doing our roofing situations we're trying to do the cool roof theory. And basically what that means, you want to maintain the same attic temperature outside as it is inside your home.
The cool roof theory. Is there a hot roof theory?
There is. Sure. Yep. There is. The hot roof theory is pack your insulation as tight as you can up to the rafters. No ventilation in your roof. Spray it with, I've even seen some customers do the foam spray in the actual rafter trusses, and no roofing vents at all.
And so, does it work? I mean,
it does. But if I could just touch base real quickly on what Kevin was talking about. Not only is it intake exhaust, but most importantly, is the insulation. We want to make sure, here in Michigan, we need an R49 is what's recommended. So we want to make sure that the attic is keeping the heat inside the house, and then we're drawing the cool air in the winter and keeping that attic as cold inside the attic as it is outside. That's the idea. But yeah, keeping the heat inside the house. So very important to make sure the insulation is up to par as well.
Okay, well, you know what, and that's a good point for all the viewers in the web chat to know that, again, it comes back to exactly what we talked about earlier, is ventilation of your roof, okay? On the soffit and in the ridge. As the air goes up the soffit and into the ridge, it keeps the cool air or hot air in your house during the winter and summers, but then it also protects your roof, and that's why you have ice damming, you have problems like that. What can we do for you this morning?
I have a question. I had my roof totally, hate to use this word redone, but it was redone like 2 years ago. And the guy was, I don't know, he wasn't the best, and now, like maybe 3 months later, I developed a leak around my chimney, and water leaks into my my bedroom as a result. My question is, do I have to replace the whole roof again, do you think, or is there a patch for the flange area, or what do you think?
More likely, Wendell, you're going to have a counter flashing issue. And basically with counter flashing, there's two different types of flashing. You have your step flashing that goes over underneath your shingles that goes up the chimney, and then there's a counter flashing that goes over top of that to keep it sealed in, that wraps around the chimney to seal it all in. So more likely, you should be able to fix that issue with a counter flashing. Of course, I haven't seen the problem, but more likely you could just do a simple flashing issue.
So,
but here's the key, though. You have a warranty with that.
Right.
So you got to call that contractor back and get him out there. Is this guy returning your calls?
Actually, no, he's not. And I don't know that I actually want him to. I don't want him to touch my roof again because, I mean, I don't trust him. To have all that work done, and then we had a rain, a summer rain, and I started hearing drip drop on my plaster.
Yeah, man, oh man, that's a horrible situation. Wendell, you're in good luck. I mean, you guys will go out there, you'll take care of it, take a look at it, right? Sure. Barbara says, does insurance usually cover this upgrade for better ventilation and fixes you recommend? I don't think that, in your policy, there's an upgrade portion. If you paid extra to upgrade, then it's covered. But most insurances, the insurance company is going to do the very minimum. They're going to do the repair and get it fixed so it doesn't leak again, and that's it. It's going to be on you, the homeowner, to do the upgrades and do things like that.